is in danger. Equilibrium will be lost, and the resurrection of the god of death grows near.
Attention players, I welcome you to my world.
Destroy the core of life and save this world, for if not, death will come for us all.
Let you get away with this. All right.
I did not believe seeing everything where people were thinking that the new Bandai Namco RPG was going to be a Sword Art Online RPG, but it was Echoes of Aincrad was announced at time of recording today. It's a new Sword Art Online RPG. I can't freaking believe this, dude. So you just saw the trailer. I just played the trailer for you. This game looks like the SAO game we've all been wanting. You create your own character and play in Aincrad. That is the perfect game. It's what we've all wanted for so long. And now we finally get to have it. So it looks like you also get an entirely new cast of characters are there with you in this. Looks like you're going to have an entirely separate story to the main story of Sword Art Online as well. From what it looks like. Which is great. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with, like, you know, us having our own little story that we do kind of on the side while the main series story goes on. So this is kind of like a side note type of thing. I'm all for that. This just looks great, man. I'm just all for pretty much every aspect of this. This is great. So Echoes of Aincrad, Sword Art Online, and the big thing is to note is on pretty much everything. That's what they branded, Echoes of Aincrad. They've kind of dropped the Sword Art name. Like, they obviously have Sword Art Online at the bottom there, just for you to know it's connected to the universe. But it's not like Sword Art Online, Echoes of Aincrad. It's just Echoes of Aincrad. This was like revealed that they were working on something with this title like a long time ago. And everyone was like, what is it going to be? A lot of people are like, it's going to be just another mobile game or something, right? But no, it's actually an RPG, which is really freaking cool. So at the end of this, they do have the release date, which is July 10th, 2026. So really, like, okay, this year, summertime. And that's peak time too, summertime. You're gonna get a lot of players at that time. So they have right here the Aincrad edition, where it shows you everything you get there. Pre-order bonuses, you get a weapons pack. So if you pre-order, you get this no matter what. You get the Prudo Elucidator series, which is just a bunch of items that are in the Elucidator font, or like the style. And it has a couple other stuff here. For the deluxe edition, which is an expansion pack, so we're going to get DLC plus a starter pack and Death Game Mode early access to Death Game Mode. So Death Game Mode, as they will reveal later, is essentially you die, it's over. Because obviously in this game, when you die, you can just respawn. Death Game Mode is true Sword Art Online. If you die, you're done. It's over. They straight up delete the save file. You're done, which is a really cool idea. So let's go into a lot of other stuff. So Bandai Namco's press release of it. Bandai Namco Entertainment today revealed Echoes of Aincrad, a breathtaking new RPG set in the Sword Art Online universe where players risk their lives in every battle. As a series first, players take on the role of a hero they create and dive into the game's epic new story and intense action where they will face life or death challenges. Now this is not true, actually. Players take on a hero they create. Fatal Bullet. You do create your own character in Fatal Bullet, so that is wrong. Echoes of Aincrad will launch on July 10th, with pre-orders available now for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PC via Steam. Interesting to note, no previous gen consoles, no PS4, no Xbox One, no Switch or Switch 2, which makes sense to me. You think a freaking Nintendo console is going to be able to run this sucker? Yeah, get out of here with your potato. So there we go. We have a little bit thing there, but we're going to get into more of this in other stuff. So IGN put out a preview, and they have this, of course, in an article form and a video format. We're going to go over the video because the video shows a lot of like stuff of them playing the game. So basically it starts off with the guy doing this article basically saying he knows nothing about Sword Art Online, which seems to be on purpose. It seems to be that by ditching kind of like the Sword Art Online immediate branding, they are trying to go for a more broader audience rather than just the Sword Art Online crowd. It seems like they're trying to go to get as many people as they can. So he says that he spent most of his time on his preview doing a quest called the Lost Log. So there we go. Just so you know, he doesn't know that much about story. Again, they say this is the first time you get to create your own character, which we've proven it isn't. He asked Sword Art Online's game series producer Yosuke Futami why they made the switch. He said that there were a couple of reasons. First, most games in the series have been set in the middle of Sword Art Online's story, which required players to have at least some working knowledge of the series. That is true. Pretty much every game in the gameverse requires you to be a Sword Art Online fan. Even the very first one in like Hollow Fragment or Infinity Moment, they required you to know Sword Art Online. You had to be a Sword Art Online fan because it took place right where the Aincrad arc ends. And then we do our own original stuff. So it does require you to have that knowledge, and so do the rest of the games. So they are trying to, like I said, go for a more broader appeal than just the Sword Art Online crowd. So Echoes of Aincrad doesn't do that, and Futami hopes that means it will be acceptable for people who aren't already fans. Second, he's hoping that by putting the player in the game world as their own character, they'll be able to experience the story being trapped in a death game themselves, not vicariously. So your journey starts in the town of Beginnings. I spent a little time running around, getting a feel for the place, and finding some elven statues that taught me some of Aincrad's lore. That is interesting when they show that in the video. The town of Beginnings feels like a starting town in an MMO. It's got that dense yet artificial feel of a town in a video game, which pulls double duty in a video game set in a video game, because NPCs feel like NPCs here is a feature, not a bug. The town also shows off how utterly gorgeous Echoes of Aincrad is. This is a good looking video game. So then he goes about, he says you can use teleport terminals. You can teleport anytime you're in town. Picked up a quest and then teleported to my chest to change up my loadout and level up. Echoes of Aincrad started me with a sword and board build, and I decided immediately that I would not be doing that because it didn't just feel like me. I opted for a great sword and some new gear instead. It spent my growth points to maximize what I wanted to do, meaning hit things with a big sword. So yes, they do emphasize that you can play however you want. You can use whatever weapon you want, whatever loadout you want. It's fully customizable, kind of again like Hollow Fragment, because you could make Kirito wield whatever weapon you wanted, and you could kind of also do that in some of the other games, but they're really trying to emphasize customization in this thing. You are rewarded for hitting certain milestones as you level up. Once you hit 5-point increments, as usually when you get a milestone. Getting my dex to 5, for instance, boosted my sword skill damage by 3%, while hitting 10 bumped it to 5. It's easy to play an RPG and feel like individual levels don't do much to make you stronger, but every time I got a new level or hit a new milestone in Echoes of Aincrad, I felt it. Something Futami confirms was intentional when I asked him about it. In Echoes of Aincrad, you can reset your parameters whenever you like. Okay, that's good. This isn't typical of Sword Art Online as a setting, but it makes Echoes of Aincrad more accessible to newcomers and encourages you to experiment with your build until you find something you like. So he says, Echoes of Aincrad is set in an MMO, but it's a single-player game. Good, we need more single-player games. When you go out, though, you're not alone. You can select a companion to go with you. You have your choice of 3. Iori, a healer, Wiseman, who's a tanker, and Argo, who is a utility support role. We will get to that later. We will get to that very later. So yeah, you always are accompanied by a companion. And he goes on and talks about how like wolves, boars, kobolds are, your standard stuff. You've got a guard, light, heavy attack, chains, all that sort of stuff. He says your partners have abilities. Iori's, for instance, creates a circle that heals you if you stand in it. You'll also open up additional attacks if you dodge at the right time or manage to parry. And some of them are pretty cinematic. We get a little image here of the customization little thing there. He says that everything feels dangerous. Standard enemies can and will kill you if you're not paying attention, especially early on, and they're not exactly the forgive and forget type. They'll follow you for a long time if you pick a fight for them, which is something that was not done in... I'm going back to Hollow Fragment a lot because that's the one I've played the most. You can aggro enemies, but if you run away enough, they'll forget you. So he says in this time they don't do that. And they're different. Kobolds will block your attacks and retreat and try to blind you. If they do, the screen darkens and is filled with static. It's a great effect that does exactly what it says. Makes it a lot harder to see. Wolves are nimble and aggressive and travel in packs. Boars are bruisers that don't particularly want to go toe-to-toe directly. And there are these weird plants that attack from range. That's the Nephetis things. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but you know what I mean if you're a Sword Art fan. So there we go. He says, the worst one were the wasps. They fly, they shoot poison, they hit pretty hard. Them boys is tough. And so I feel like I'm CJ whenever I see one. Ah, shit, here we go again. Futami knows it too. When I asked him about the enemies, and specifically mentioned the wasps, he nodded and said, ah, wasp in English. The rest of our interview was conducted via translator. Those are the words of a man who knows what he's doing, what horrors he has unleashed on his digital world. Well, I look forward to getting mad at the wasps. And he talks about how this is really cool. You can chop off the wasp's wings, preventing them from taking the air and forcing them to fight on my terms. That's cool. You can injure your enemies, and that changes the way the fight goes. That is pretty cool. So he mentions how Futami said that he wanted the world itself to be like a dungeon, and I felt like it when I was playing it. Much of the time, I was figuring out how to get to where I wanted to be from where I was, and where the paths I need to take to get to one floating blue orb, which serves as places to rest and restore your potions, but also respawns enemies. That's very Souls-like. That's a very Souls-like mechanic, where you get to like a rest, your stats are all healed, right? Like maybe like your mana or your health, potions are all healed. That, and then enemies are respawned. That's a very Souls-like mechanic. Fighting chests along the way, but found my favorite part about the world was finding arcs. Defeating mini-boss enemies sealed inside the arcs will open other seals scattered around the world, allowing you to get chests and other goodies. That's pretty cool. I like that. One time I opened up a cave, but it was too dark for me to see what was inside. Apparently I didn't have the right equipment to light the way. I guess I needed a Pokemon with flash or something. That could have been annoying, but I loved navigating Echoes of Aincrad World so much, it just made me want to come back later. There's so much detail here, that even walking through mud is exciting because it would show up on my characters. Oh boy, mud physics. So yeah, so he talks a bit more about that. My demo ended with a boss fight against a couple of big scary plants. That's the Nephetis or whatever they're called. It was a grand old time and fitting end to my time with Echoes of Aincrad. I came, I saw, I conquered, recovered the lost log, and left many a dead wasp in my wake. I'm still thinking about Echoes of Aincrad more than a week after playing it, about its world, its characters, and the wasps. Even the meta-textual stuff is fun. Remember Iori? She appears as a woman when I met her, but early on, Iori is a man, and Futami is eager to see what players make of that change. Now this part here is where the not knowing Sword Art Online comes in, where he says, who hasn't played the member of the opposite sex while exploring a fantasy world? So he thinks Iori is a man being a woman, when if you're a Sword Art Online fan, you know it's the opposite. Iori is a woman who was playing as a man, but after Kayaba fully introduces the death game, she got turned into what she actually looks like. So, you know, that's probably, again, something for people who don't know. See, like, they're just like, oh, this is my bro. And then suddenly, whoa, my bro turned into a girl. Sweet. You know? So there's something like that. So that's the IGN article there. So they seem to like it. I'm sure when the game comes out, we can expect the IGN 7 out of 10 and everything like that. So here is more of the, like the gameplay. So some stuff I wanted to show is, well, first off, right here we have your equipment. So you have your health, your stamina, your SP, attack, defense, STR, AGI. So you have all those stats there. And the aesthetic for it feels like what a lot of SAO games do. It reminds me of what is it called? Variant Showdown is what this like kind of reminds me of in terms of style. I will say. Well, we can see like here him fighting. There's the wasp. Jump, you can jump and attack. That's pretty cool. Town of Beginnings. So I wanna go back here. I wanna go to Town of Beginnings. I like this part here, where they straight up have it floating in the air, where you are. That's pretty cool to me. I do kind of like that. I do like that bit. And here's part of the lore stuff he was talking about. Let me see if I can read it. Okay, so man-made goddess statues. On the first floor where elven worship is widespread, goddess statues can be found across the land. Most are replicas made with the last few centuries, but it's said the original, carved 1,000 years ago, still exists somewhere. So just little lore on Aincrad, which I do enjoy, showing him here with some new gear loadout, and he's equipping swords and all that type of stuff. So they have that there. They have the Anield blade, which is what Kirito wins on floor 1. So you can win that too. That is good to know. So here we have him choosing his companion there with Iori, Wise Man, and Argo. It's really cool we're going to have Argo as like a companion for us. That's cool. She doesn't get enough love, in my opinion. We need more of Argo to get more love. But yeah, you guys can go and watch the rest of this on the IGN preview. It is just the article we read, but him speaking about it, but you're mainly there for the gameplay to see all of that. So let's take a look at the Echoes of Aincrad website now, which is now up. Echoes of Aincrad, release date July 10th. Developer is Game Studio Inc. Anime JRPG, single player. There's the platform. So here we go. Step into the legendary floating castle of Aincrad, a realm of breathtaking beauty and unforgiving danger. What seemed to be a dream adventure has now become a fight for survival. Among thousands of trapped souls, your journey is yours alone. Will you rise, endure, and forge bonds that redefine your destiny? Or will you perish while facing enemies stronger, faster, and more ruthless than you imagined? This is not just a game. It's a battle for survival. Take up your weapon. Shape your legend. Conquer Aincrad. Risk your reality. Yeah, we're going really deep in there. We're trying to sell it. Design your own avatar and craft your own path. Customize your appearance, gear, and combat style through a variety of weapons and skills. This is awesome. This is the game we all wanted. Make my own character and then just let me play through Aincrad. So talking about, stats and all that. Explore the world. You can complete quests. Hunt rare treasures, and challenge formidable foes in real-time action combat. The map expands as your story unfolds, revealing new areas and dangers at every turn. So just the more you do the story, the more the map unlocks. That's pretty standard stuff. And we have here the different editions. So we have the standard edition, which is Echoes of Aincrad. If you pre-order, you get the Proto Elucidator series, which we saw, the deluxe edition, which includes the expansion DLC, a starter pack, and you can unlock the death game mode early. That ultimate edition includes unanswered butterfly bonus content, which we will talk about later, an armor pack, and there's that. And then the Aincrad edition is everything the ultimate edition, except you get a beanie, a poster, sticker sheet, and some patches. Cool, man. That's cool. So there we go. Echoes of Aincrad. This is the North American site there, but we're gonna go to the Japanese site because, like everything, this site's way fucking cooler. So we have this image right here, which this is our boy, this is our main character, and that's Aori, which I like how they're doing the Kirito Asuna art pose. I do like that a lot. Then if we go to number 2, this is awesome. I want this to be the cover. So you see Kirito, he is there. We have Asuna there, and they're both in progressive armor. So that is one thing to keep in mind. We are in the progressive era, and we have a lot of our main original characters here. And then the last one is a spin on the actual box art for Sword Art Online in canon, which is really cool. I do like that a lot. So they have released Unanswered Butterfly. A special has been released. Ooh, what is the special? I have no idea what special is. Special event. There's a special event, guys. Whoa. Yes, translate for me. Those who pre-order Echoes of Aincrad will be entered into a lottery to invite to a special event where you can watch the promotional anime Unanswered Butterfly in the cinema. Whoa, that's awesome. That can't be me though, because I don't live in Japan. Sadly, I don't. So here we go. Sword Art Online is the world's first full dive MMORPG. The adventure of diving into a virtual world has attracted many players. However, this virtual world soon turns into a death game, where death in the game means death in the real world. If you die in the game, you die in real life. Among the countless players is you. Hey, yeah, it's awesome. In this world that is crueler than reality, you, it's me, are reunited with Aori, a beta tester whom you once shared an adventure. So we're going to be a beta tester, is what it sounds like. Set in the floating castle Aincrad, this is the first RPG that depicts the troubles and conflicts of players trapped in a virtual world where death is always close by. In the virtual world that has turned into a death game, you choose to leave the town of beginnings and fight to survive. A game over means death in the world, where you will meet many companions and face the many challenges that arise in the first and second levels of Aincrad. So this is important. They are specifically mentioning the first and second floors of Aincrad. So we're not going too far, which might be a disappointment to some. It is kind of a disappointment to me that we're not going too deep into Aincrad. We're only doing the first 2 floors, but this could be maybe a base thing. Maybe they do a cool thing where they update it every couple of weeks and they add a new floor. Kind of like how ALO does it in Sword Art Online canon, where they have new Aincrad and every couple of months they add a new floor. Maybe they do that. I doubt it. I think we're just getting the first 2 floors. Then it's customize your thing. You choose which weapon. And then death game mode, which, like I said, if you die, it's over. This content is unlocked after clearing the main story. So you have to beat the main story to get this. But as we showed, if you get the deluxe edition, you get it right when you get the game. Some products come with early release rights as a bonus. There you go. Death game can only be selected when you create a second or subsequent save file and start a new game. So you don't do that. And then characters. So you have a list of characters, list of products. Here are the specs required. Compatible hardware. There you go. All that type of stuff. Here's your specs for like PC and stuff like that. And languages spoken. This is a big one. It's not just Japanese this time. They are fully translating this to multiple different countries along with supported audio for English. So in the trailer, as you heard, this is now dubbed. And I believe this is a first they can actually claim. All the other Sword Art games I don't believe are ever dubbed. They are all in Japanese. So this will be the first time we're playing a Sword Art game where you could actually listen to the English cast. Now I imagine that for our actually cast characters like Kirito and Asuna, they are going to get their original actors. So Bryce is going to come back for Kirito and Cherami will come back for Asuna. I can hope. But let's go into the characters now. So we have main protagonist. This is me. This is you. So right there you have your default male, your default female, right then and there. So that's pretty cool. Then we have Iori right here, and they have her VA. So we have a solo gamer who uses a one-handed sword and who taught the novice protagonist the basics of SAO when when she met him during the beta test. Yeah, because we know that they kind of fuck this up with translate at times. So there's Iori. And maybe it says he because she was pretending to be a man. That could be it too, but I think it meant to say she. So there's Iori right there. We have Argo. Hello, Argo. There we go. They just fucked up. She handles various information as an informant. She meets the protagonist and the others during the beta test. So we're going to meet Argo in the beta test. That's pretty cool. We'll be a good friend of Argo. We have Kirito. Since the beta testing period, he has made a name for himself as a skilled solo player. There's our boy right there. That's a cool render for him, by the way. I do gotta say. And as you can see, again, we're in progressive era with his outfit. Same with Asuna here. A girl who challenged the first layer of the battle alongside Kirito. So not a lot there, but she's also in progressive gear. There is another trailer on the Bandai Namco Japanese YouTube channel where they show a bit more, and they show that Liz is actually going to be there. And it doesn't have her hair dyed yet because, again, this is early days. So she doesn't have her pink hair yet, but she is already she and Asuna already know each other by this point. So there we go. And then what is Unanswered Butterfly, which a lot of people are asking? It's going to be a little movie that they're going to do. Well, not even a movie, just a little anime thing. It's probably going to be 10 minutes. So right here, it says, Emmeline and Rex, who knew each other in the real world, happen to meet again here. The two take refuge with the map research team and learn how to survive in the world of SAO. However, one day they encounter a mysterious PKer known as the Black Swordsman. Emmeline rushes to the scene and sees Rex with his head hanging in despair, and the Black Swordsman looking down on him. The one who wiped out the entire research team was the Black Swordsman. Emmeline and Rex meet the genius swordswoman Asuna and begin special training to defeat their comrade's enemy. In a death game where even humans are fighting each other, what new beginning will they reach? This is obviously going to be a misunderstanding. They think Kirito is a villain, type of thing. I look forward to that. They do say it will be free eventually, so that'll be fun. So you can look forward to that. They do have a trailer for it already up, so you can watch the trailer. And I have this little post here, which is again just saying that it's the first 2 floors of Aincrad. So there we go, guys. Sword Art Online Echoes of Aincrad is coming out. I, honest to God, can't freaking believe that it was real. We're actually getting a new Sword Art Online video game. That is crazy. I thought it was going to be cope, with everyone being like, oh yeah, the new thing will be a Sword Art Online game. And I'm like, no, you're all coping. There's no way. It's actually a Sword Art Online video game. Oh my god. I'm excited for it. I might get this day one. I might get this day one. I never normally do with Sword Art Online games, or many games in general, because Fractured Daydream, I didn't get it day one. I got it like a couple months later. So, you know, like, and I haven't even played it yet because I'm a weird guy. I gotta play them in order, right? So Re-Hollow Fragment is what I have to finish, and then I can move on to Lost Song, then Hollow Realization, then Fatal Bullet, and then on and on. So I have to finish Re-Hollow Fragment. I really need to. I've gone away from it for too long. God damn it. So I really need to get back into it. But this is just going to put me back in the SAO mood. I'll probably rewatch the anime for the 15th time. Maybe I'll finally get caught up on Uno Ring. Maybe this will be it. But I'm happy for this. Of course, I'm always happy for cool SAO content, and that's what this is. Also, this could be just a me thing, but does it not look like, aesthetically, right? Does this not look a bit more of a darker tone for Sword Art Online? Again, could just be me, but I think this looks a lot more serious, right? It's got a bit more muted colors than everything, and the tone of the trailer and everything is pretty serious. So to me, this seems like they're trying to go for a more serious tone. Now, Sword Art Online itself already does pretty dark stories already. You know, it can get to some pretty dark places, but the cast of characters is so vibrant and so bright, and the worlds are equally as such, so it kind of takes you out of the really dark stuff you're dealing with. Because of how bright everything is and how colorful it all is, you kind of forget that. But this looks like a lot more muted colors. So it does look like a more serious thing. That's just me, you know? But I'm happy for this. This is the shot in the arm that Sword Art Online desperately needed. I'm happy we're picking up juice. I recently did a video on the Volume 29 cover being released. This is great. I'm really happy we got a new video game, which looks real good. I'm probably going to pick it up real freaking soon. I'll definitely be picking it up, like, if not the day of, a couple days after. You know, I probably will, because this looks like the Sword Art game we've all wanted, which is just let me create my own OC and play Aincrad. Again, I would love it if we could just play Aincrad like floor by floor by floor. That's the dream game, right? Doesn't look like we're getting that, but a man can hope. Maybe this will inspire someone to make their own Sword Art Online where you go floor by floor. That's something I really liked about Re-Hollow Fragment, was you do genuinely just go, in the Aincrad portion, go floor by floor by floor, clearing dungeons, clearing bosses over and over again. Now, you don't go through every floor, right? They do cap you on how many you go through, because you kind of start after the main events of Aincrad, and then we do our own original thing, but at least they still had that, and I very much enjoyed it. So if I could have got a full game like that, I'd be sold, but sadly that's not what that is. But I'm still looking forward to this. I hope we get more stuff with this eventually, maybe a full confirmation that Jeremy and Bryce are reprising their roles. and we get some more stuff about this cast of characters. I just want more stuff. So thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think. Are you excited for Echoes of Aincrad? Let me know. I'll see you all next time.